Good evening. I call to order the meeting of the Brawley City Council and successor agency to Brawley Community Redevelopment Agency. This is our regular meeting agenda for November 2nd, 2021 at 6 p.m. here in City Council chambers. We'll have the roll call.
Mayor Hamby,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Couchman,
Here.
Councilmember Nava,
Here.
Councilmember Castro,
Here.
Councilmember Ward.
Here.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to invite our Police Chief, Jimmy Duran, to come up and offer the invocation.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many blessings you provide to our city. And I pray that you will continue to bless us as you've done in the past, and continue to give us wisdom. And give wisdom especially to our city council, our mayor, our city manager, and other community leaders as they bear the weight of this city on their shoulders. I ask that you grant them the ability and courage to know and do what is right, good, and true. May you guide them today in any decisions they need to take. I pray that you always guide them, especially when faced with hard decisions. I ask that your grace be upon them during today's council meeting, and that it may be fruitful and in the best interest of our citizens. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Councilman Wharton, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Be my pleasure. Everyone can face the flag, put your right hand over your heart, and ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we vote to approve the agenda, it was requested that we pull item 3F from the consent agenda to be addressed in regular business. So with that change, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. I'll second that motion.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, item 2, public appearances and comments, not to exceed 4 minutes. This is the time for the public to address the council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. Is there anyone here to give a public comment? Yeah, this is good.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Dana Mendoza. I am the president of the Brawley Cattle Call Queen Royalty Association, and it is my absolute pleasure to tell you we have another amazing year of young ladies. And I'm going to turn it over to our 2021 Brawley Cattle Call Queen, Riley Locker. And I'm going to... is our 2021 Brawley Cattle Call Teen Queen, and that's Cheyenne Cox. 2021 Brawley Cattle Call Junior Queen is Miss Emerson Brandt. And last but certainly not least, our 2021 Brawley Cattle Call Little Miss Savannah Hernandez.
All right.
See you at all of the upcoming events. We are so grateful that we are in a place in our world that we can move forward with cattle call. It's a big deal for us, obviously. So if you want to take pictures or whatever, we can do that now.
Yeah, we'd like to do that.
Everybody's in. 1, 2, 3. I know, right? It's okay. Okay, stay right there. Come on. Okay, girls, can we make them say yeehaw? 1, 2, 3.
All right, don't go anywhere. We're gonna do a little selfie here, right? So. Everybody. All right, we got it. Good job.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Good job, ladies. We'll see you at the rest of the event.
Tyler, tell us that the chief.
If you didn't get a selfie, it didn't happen.
What's that?
If you don't get a selfie, it didn't
It
happen.
didn't happen, right?
It's gotta go on Facebook
The
too.
chiefs
That's neat, though.
won't be here. That's so cool. The chief.
Oh, yeah, we got a good one.
All right, good to have our cattle call court. Okay. Any other public comments? Okay, item 2D.
Before we move, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, item 2D is a presentation by our Public Works Director, Guillermo Cias, to recognize some of the utility workers and water treatment plant operators and assistants. Take it away, Guillermo.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. It is with great pleasure and sadness at the same time to announce that Mr. Jose Limon is retiring from the city of Brawley and Public Works in particular. Mr. Jose Limon has been employed by the city of Brawley for about 36 years. He started working at the city of Brawley right when he finished high school. He started working with the city at the sanitation division or solid waste for 19 years. Then he worked 1 year for the wastewater treatment plant, and finally he has been working for the streets and utilities division for the last 16 years. He has his wife, Norma Limon, 3 children, Melissa, Jose Jr., Aime, and 7 grandchildren. He has been very hard worker, reliable, responsible, very friendly and cheerful. He always has a smile and a positive attitude. He is open to implement new ideas and suggestions. He is willing to teach other less experienced co-workers. Always brought the good attitude, lighten up the day, and made the crew laugh. Never complain. No matter how tough was the work or how hot was the weather, he was always willing to work and change schedule and accommodate. Jose enjoys off-roading with his sons and grandkids, attending, watching off-roads races, San Felipe or Ensenada. He likes working with his cars and trucks. Recently, he developed a joy to carry with him his little dog with him. Maybe so many years of tough work smoothed out Mr. Limon, but it's been a great pleasure to work with him. He's a very hardworking and very positive attitude person. And join me to congratulate Mr. Limon for his retirement and continue with whatever other activity that he might join.
All right. We'd like to have him come up, take some photos, and we have a certificate of appreciation and also a pin for him. So come on up. Say something.
Well, it's been a good pleasure working for the city of Brawley for all these years, and but I guess I'm ready to move on to other things now and let the young generation take over. And thank you for having me around for all these years. Thanks.
Thank you. You'll be missed. You'll leave a void there. So, and I know there's some older people here that would say the younger generation isn't really picking up the slack. So you're going to be missed. But
Thank you.
we know our younger guys are stepping up. So
They'll get it going.
There you go. Hey, we all take a little while to kick in, you know what I mean?
That's
All of us,
Yeah.
we're all the same.
That's why I tell the younger
Yeah.
kids, anything you need, just give me a call. I'll
Yeah.
help you guys out.
Appreciate it very much.
Good. Any other comments?
No, we just thank you very much for your dedication to the city of Brawley, for your family. Congratulations to your family and to yourself. And, we wish you the best. I certainly do. And I want you to enjoy your retirement. I think a lot of people don't get to do that, and you certainly will. So enjoy it. And thank you again for everything that you've done for the citizens of Brawley, and for everybody here, your employees, your friends.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations, Mr. Limon. I think to hear all those years that you gave to the city, you don't hear that anymore, right? As everybody bounces around and they find something better and move on. But thank you for your commitment. I know that besides the council here, the community and the people in the city as a whole appreciate all the hard work you've done, because everything you did affected every single one of us all those years. Thank you.
Congratulations, yes. As I mentioned before, I'll miss seeing you drive around in the truck, and I see you and I wave and everything. So we'll really miss you, I think, here at the city.
I was going to let the mayor pro tem speak. No, I'll just squeeze that. I found it, Jose, you came up here and you thanked us and you thanked the public, and I just think that's amazing. You actually served and chose this as a career to serve the community, and yet you stand here and you're thanking us. It really speaks to, I think, what Guillermo was saying about, who you are and how you are. So I know you'll be missed. I know, some of us, as we come and go on council, we didn't, we're not around for 37 years or 36 years, but it's truly humbling and amazing. So I appreciate your years of service and your family. And this is a special day, and it's kind of a new chapter. So we will see you around Brawley.
Okay.
We have I'm going to present the certificate to you, Jose. It says, Certificate of Appreciation is hereby presented to Jose Limon for 36.5 years of dedicated service to the citizens of Brawley. So you were right on both accounts, 36 and 37.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then we have a pin commemorating your service, too.
Got a picture.
Come on, let's get the family up. Family. Come on, family.
It's gotta be worth something. Congratulations. Thanks a lot.
One, two, three. You take another.
I took a picture, he goes, I look good.
It was a selfie.
Before you sit down, Norma, there's something for you here, too.
We up. No, we don't want lawsuits on the last day right here.
Oh.
Look at that. Be careful. Thanks, no.
This is to you for all the support that you've given us over the years.
Yeah.
Let me get out.
One, you want a picture with them? One. Oh, we all want yellow.
Where's Guillermo? Where's Guillermo?
And three.
One.
So you come up and then kick you out. Okay, now you guys, take a picture.
This only happens every 36.5.
Right?
Good job.
All right.
a milestone.
Yeah.
Okay, the next introduction, I would like to present to you Mr. Jorge Valle. He graduated from high school at Cetis University in Mexicali with emphasis in health science. He studied at the Autonomous University of Baja California, where he graduated as a physician and holds a degree as a surgeon and obstetrician. He studied water and wastewater technology at Sacramento State Water University. Mr. Valle started to work in Walmart in 2005, and he worked there for about 11 years. Then he worked for the City of Brawley wastewater treatment plant as an operator in training for about 2 years. Then he accepted a position as a lead operator at the water treatment plant when he has been working there since 2016. Mr. Valle holds certifications on water treatment operator grade 4, water distribution operator D2, and wastewater treatment operator 3. He accepted or was promoted in October last year as an assistant chief for the water treatment plant. And then he passed his T4 certification. And on April 6 this year, he was promoted as an interim chief for the water treatment plant. Then he received all the certification, and right now I'm presented as the chief for the water treatment plant. He's a very special person.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you, members of the council, city manager, mayor. I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity and reaffirm my commitment to continue producing quality water for the city. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. This is it's really neat to see the quality team members that we have at the City of Brawley, and I think you probably have more education and experience than most of us here behind the dais. So
Combined.
thank you for your service.
Dr. Waters, man.
Yeah, man.
The water doctor. He's a water doctor.
The water doctor. He's a water doctor.
That's good, brother. I appreciate that. No, congratulations, and thank you for the work that you're doing. You know, and it shows, honestly, your commitment to just succeeding, you know, from your education to the work that you've done at Walmart, from the work that you've done within the city, from, you know, maybe even humble beginnings to where you are at today, you know. And so I'm proud of the work that you're doing. Fantastic. And we appreciate you being here. So good work to you, and congratulations. Thank you for being a part of this team.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Congratulations. You know, I was reading when I was listening to, I was actually watching you as he was reading off all your experience. Your experience and your education, it's admirable, and I think we're very lucky to have you. It sounds like you're, you know, a great, actually, you sound like you're really, really smart. So either way, congratulations. We're very happy to have you here.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Jorge, I'd like to just say, we often say, we talk about, you know, public safety, we talk about, you know, all the different services, Parks and Rec, et cetera, all important, but if we didn't have water, we'd be hearing about it really quickly.
Yeah.
So when your commitment to that, I hope the public knows there's a lot of, you know, good qualified folks like you that allow that to happen.
Yeah.
And water never sleeps, right? It's
doesn't.
24 hours a day,
Absolutely.
7 days a week. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Water and wastewater, and you know, and I'm sorry if I'm jumping in, but it's true. I mean, it's, you know, of course we have, you know, the police department, safety, fire department, everybody gets recognized. You have public works that are most interactive with the public, but you have water delivery and you have wastewater treatment that sometimes go unnoticed until it's not working, right? And those are such important aspects of how a city works,
Yep.
right? So no, I appreciate it being brought up. So congratulations.
Congratulations, and we do appreciate your service to the city of Brawley, your continued service to the city of Brawley, and I'm sure the citizens also appreciate your efforts out there to bring them the fresh water that they need to do the things that they need to do on a daily basis. And I do think sometimes it's overlooked, but it's an essential service, it's necessary, and it's a safety issue if it doesn't get done, and so we appreciate all your efforts, and I know the city does also. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Okay, continuing with the talent at the water treatment plant, I'm happy to present to you Mr. Omar Valderas. He's a resident of the city of Brawley. He graduated from Brawley High School and attended IBC to study water technology. Mr. Valderas has a distribution grade number 2 certification, and also he has a grade 3 in water treatment. Also has certification on backflow prevention. Mr. Valderas started to work for the city as a volunteer for the pretreatment division under the direction of Mr. Steven Mireles, that is here with us this night. And later on, he passed his grade 3 examination and got certification. In October last month, he was promoted as an assistant chief for the water treatment plant. Please welcome Mr. Omar Valderas.
I would like to say thank you for the opportunity given me 4 years ago. I will continue my commitment with the city, and I'll continue pursuing my career. Thank you.
All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you for all your hard work, Omar, and your efforts are paying off. You're progressing and moving up, and we're always happy to see that. Somebody who's homegrown, somebody that's from right here in Brawley who's staying here to serve the city of Brawley. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
Thanks.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I was going to throw in the volunteer. I remember, your story before, joining and serving as a volunteer just reminds me of a lot of public safety works that way too. Reserve program with law enforcement as well as even in the fire department. So it's just a great commitment and a great story when you start that way and keep moving. So good luck and congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, congratulations. I want to second the mayor's comments. It's always great to see somebody from Brawley come up and go work in our city, right? You take great pride, and not saying that anybody else doesn't, but it's always good to see that. Congratulations. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good work, my friend. It's actually something you pursued. So you're achieving that, and I know you're going to have greater success here within the city of Brawley. We appreciate you being here. Again, we're just developing a solid team here in the city of Brawley, from every department, from water, wastewater, to public works, to police, to fire, to everybody. It's building a solid team, so you're part of that. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yes, Omar, congratulations, and appreciate the fact that you're a Brawley High graduate and IVC. A lot of us are very proud of those institutions, and we know that they put out a quality product, and we know that they do well by educating our youth and the people of the valley. And so it's great that you're here and able to serve the city of Brawley, but also the city of Brawley is grateful that you're here serving this. So thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
All right. Great job. Just checking the agenda to see if Guillermo would be coming back later, and it looks like he will, so don't change that channel. All right, next we're going to have item 2F. We're going to change it up a little bit. Instead of having some new officers introduced, we're going to ask Chief Duran to come up and explain a little bit about why they're dressed the way they are dressed tonight.
Well, we're dressed the way we're dressed because we're excited about cattle call. How's that, no? Anybody excited? Can I do a commercial, Mayor? Might as well.
Yeah, might as well.
Listen, you know what? I want to invite everybody to cattle call because we're going to have a great time. We've been putting a lot of effort into what's going to happen, and I think it's going to be okay. It's going to be good. It's going to be safe environment. We've been working with our allied agencies. Our fire chief's been helping us out as well, all the departments within the city, and we're ready. As you can see, we are ready.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, get into our uniform. This is our cattle call uniform, and you can see at the screen, part of the cattle call uniform is a custom-made badge that has the rank and the name of the individual officer. But let me add something, because I know people are going to say, well, we're spending city's money. No, we're not. Every officer is buying their own. Why? Because they're proud of working for this city, and they're proud of our cattle call. That's why we're doing it. So what you see here, what we're wearing is paying at our own dime, and I just want to make sure that we're clear on that.
Hey,
Fantastic.
Chief, I want to buy my own too.
There we go.
You gotta go to the academy. You gotta go to the
No,
academy.
I don't want a policeman, I want a city council.
You'll say guilty?
Yes, and in order to illustrate this uniform better, you know, because if you just see it on the ugly chief, it's just not going to work out. So I brought two studs with me. Come on, guys. Come on, because hey,
They were quick to come up with these
I don't want the council to say, all right, then, gentlemen. I don't want the council to say, you know what, bad idea, chief, look at yourself, you know, but like this, I prove my point, you know, I think it's awesome, right? So what they're wearing is a optional hat, and I say optional because a hat color can vary, the style can vary a little bit as long as it's approved by command staff. We're wearing a standard uniform shirt, and as you see, we're wearing Western style pants, you know, denim blue, and standard cowboy boots or Western boots, and of course our buckle. And this is going to be our standard optional uniform for the officers during cattle call week. So I hope that you enjoy what you're seeing here, because again, you see the ugly chief doesn't look as good, but you see these men, oh my God, right?
Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Well done.
I would venture to say, we probably have the best looking chief in the valley. I mean, I'm trying to go through and think.
Whoa. Yeah, I think we do.
Oh, we could probably.
I've seen all the other chiefs.
Yeah, we've seen them all. You have to buy everybody
That's
ice cream.
it. Don't go into their township for the next year or so.
All right, thank you for
You can
that.
add council to that too, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we probably.
Yeah, we're probably the best
would
looking
guess.
council. yeah.
I think we do have the best looking city council as well.
There you go, hey, aplauso. There you go.
Well, you have El Wapo here.
El Wapo.
We're an example to follow there.
All right.
We're getting moving on.
Moving on. Unfortunately, we're having to pull item 2G because those Parks and Rec maintenance workers that were going to be introduced are on a emergency maintenance call right now, so they're doing the work that they love to do. We'll move on to item 3, consent agenda. Items are approved by one motion. Council members or members of the public may request consent items be considered separately at a time determined by the mayor, and we did pull item 3F. So with that modification, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as modified.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Consent agenda is approved. Item 4, city manager report.
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tyler. Item 5, regular business. I'm going to go ahead and throw item 3F as the first item we will address here, so.
I'm just going to abstain from that vote, just because I'm in the real estate and lending world, and so Latigo Ranch is, I'm representing some buyers and homes there, so I just don't want there to be any conflict. Certainly, I don't represent the seller, but I just want to make sure that I'm clear on that, and I abstain from that vote. So I'll excuse myself for just a moment, you guys can go over that. I'd appreciate it very much. Thank you.
George. Okay, go for it.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members. Gordon Gase, Development Services Director. As required by our ordinance, final track maps come to the City Council for final approval. Like Mr. Nava mentioned, they usually go on the consent agenda. However, this one will be on regular business due to the conflict of interest. This map is the Latigo Ranch Unit 2, which is divided into 3 phases, A, B, and C. The map is substantially consistent with the tentative map. The actual subdivision improvement agreement, which was approved by the council several weeks ago, has already been recorded. So now just the Mylars of the map, the subdivision guarantee, and the tax agreement will be recorded upon approval by the city clerk in coordination with the developer. Any questions?
No questions from
No
council?
questions.
All right, is there a motion to approve this item?
I think under the city manager's recommendation and our planning director, I will go ahead and make a motion to approve the final track map.
I'll second that motion.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? One abstention?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No time for snacks.
I found a box of snacks back there.
Did we
You
lose our
didn't bring
chief?
any for us, I noticed.
Coffee. No coffee, though.
No cafe?
I'm copying.
I will move on to item 5B until our chief gets back. Discussion and potential action to approve a regional aerial imagery acquisition consortium memorandum of understanding with the County of Imperial and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement. This is presented by our finance director, Carla Romero. Backup is on pages 110 through 119.
Good evening, members of the City Council. With us on Zoom is Bryant, I believe Fabella from, he's the GIS project coordinator from the county. Either him or Rebecca, I'm not sure which one of the two. Oh, it's Rebecca. So Rebecca is the intergovernmental relations partner also from the County of Imperial. Tonight we have our aerial imagery MOU, and this is a partnership with several other agencies within the Imperial Valley. Most of the obligation is paid by SCAG and the IID and the county, and so the city's portion is only $4,550 out of the $600,000. But as part of the presentation, we also wanted to give a moment to the county to show you the work that they are doing. The imagery is already done. It was actually taken at the end of December into the beginning of 2021, and so this would allow us to have access to that imagery for that low price. And we would have access to all of it, not just for the city of Brawley. So if we wanted like grants or have a regional project, stuff like that, we would have access to that as well. So I'll turn it over to Rebecca.
Hi, good evening. Go ahead, Brian.
Oh, I was just going to say that I will be presenting.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. Honorable council members, I hope the audio is good on my end.
Yes.
First and foremost, I really want to thank the city. It's quite a privilege to present this project before you. It's been a long road. We've done a lot of hard work, and so it's really quite a privilege to present it to you. As Carla mentioned, my name is Brian Fabella. I'm the GIS project coordinator for Imperial County. And today I want to present the regional aerial imagery acquisition project. And on behalf of the county, formally invite the city of Brawley to join us in this initiative and in this memorandum of understanding. I will try to be as brief as possible, but please feel free to ask any questions. At any point during the presentation, I will do my best to address them as fully as possible. But before I get into the more details of the project, I really want to speak as to the driving principles behind this initiative and this MOU. The county has really begun to embrace and really make a strong influence towards modernizing a lot of processes and overall just kind of the way we do things. And this is all with the goal to equip our departments and our valley with more and better tools, which in the end aims to provide the public with a much better service in general. I think in many ways this pandemic has kind of forced all of us, right, to do this in one way or another. So in this instance, the way that we're pursuing this goal is with aerial imagery. Next slide, please. Make percent.
Is there slides?
Is it going to come on?
There you go. Yes. Mm-hmm. Go to the next
Sorry
page.
about that.
It's okay.
Okay, so really our main goals with pursuing this project were collaboration, cost effectiveness, and really getting the right tool for our money. Some of our partners, well, all of our partners include the SCAG, EID, Caltrans, LAFCO, ICTC, and the cities. Now, one of the reasons why this project is a little bit of an extended timeline is because we really engaged in quite the process to get the lowest price possible without sacrificing the quality or the coverage for what we were getting. And as you can see here, some of the initial projections for the overall cost of this project that were provided by SCAG were really upwards of $650,000 as a whole. And through a lot of this work, we were really able to trim that that down, like I mentioned, without sacrificing what we were getting, the quality and coverage. And I want to speak as to the technology. What's that famous saying, the harvest is plenty, but the workers should be. Our focus here is in getting the tools, like I mentioned, so that we can all be equipped to work more efficiently, make better decisions, and really in the end, have better outcomes for all of the hard work that every agency and every government entity in the county does. I think our assessor's office here in the county can attest to the convenience of using this tool. Many of our appraisers, instead of having to travel halfway across the county to look at a property, with this tool, they really are just able to do that from their office, which saves them time and in many cases a lot of resources to continue doing a lot of other work. Next slide, please. Additionally, we really believe that the best way to ensure the long-term sustainability of this project is to minimize the cost for the MOU members. I think it's very common for the city and probably all of us in our personal lives to purchase something or contract a product or service and then have the cost kind of balloon on us, right? Well, we really made an effort to ensure that the cost was as low as possible, especially for the smaller partners in this consortium. Usually the price for a small to medium-sized city to procure a service like this, products like this, can run upwards of $50,000, maybe even $20,000, depending on the quality and the coverage of the things that you're getting. In this instance, the city of Brawley made a very generous contribution of $4,550. Currently, we have 14 users using the product, which then equals to about $225 per user. But that is not only just 1 year. So over the long haul, that could equal to a lower cost per user, right? And I also want to make the point that there's no limit to the amount of users that the city can have. In theory, all city employees could have this tool if they wanted to, and if they wanted to use it as little or as much as they needed. And I also want to emphasize that the county, us, we're really available anytime as a resource for any city employee who wants to learn how to do something or take more advantage of this tool. And additionally, we managed to procure free training, free of cost right from the vendor, so that anybody who's really interested can, again, take full advantage of everything that the software has to offer. And additionally, another way in which we want to ensure that this tool remains relevant and that it's sustainable in the long term is by being consistent with our community update. We have done flights in the past, but the consistency in which we have done them has not always been every 4 years or every 6 years. I believe the last one we had was back in 2013. And so now we're aiming to make a flight every 3 or 4 years. That's the sweet spot that we kind of figure we have between making the purchase and the amount of development, new development that occurs in the county, right? And so we're aiming to have our next flight be performed in 2024. But I also want to emphasize that this is not set in stone. As needed, we can perform on-demand new flights. So say that the county experienced, God willing, a spur of economic growth and development, and it was convenient for us to perform the updates every 2 years. Then we can definitely do that, or we can even do it just for specific areas like cities or the areas around the city, which is usually where we see the most development and the interest by most of our members. Next slide, please. Now, I also want to make the case as to why this is more than just pretty pictures of our valley, but it is actually a very powerful and comprehensive tool. I'm sure that we can all recognize this area of our city, even if it doesn't look like this anymore. This image was taken back in November 2007 by our vendor, and it's available in the service, in the imagery service. Next slide, please.
It's pretty amazing. That was in 07.
So I could see Sam's truck.
Sam's truck.
So now this image was taken in January of this year. And I think we can all recognize very easily that there has been a lot of development in the area. So I really like this because it's almost like traveling in time, right? A lot of changes, a lot of that kind of precede us, and this is just a very excellent reference tool for a lot of those things. But this product is also more than just a reference tool. Next slide, please. So every pixel in this image has a resolution on average of 3 inches in resolution. That is because the pixels that are further away from the image, as you can see, this kind of has an angle to it, are further away, so we'll have a little bit of a larger, lower resolution, and then the ones closer are a little bit higher. But an average is 3 inches. So it's a very good quality. It's about the industry standard, really. And every pixel also has an X and a Y coordinate attached to it. So that allows us to perform all kinds of measurements over the image. And this includes height. So you can take the height of a flagpole, like you're able to see there, or a building, a wall. You're able to measure the ground distance between 2 points, such as the distance that it would take you to cross that street that you see there. We're able to measure the surface area, whether a lawn, or a sidewalk, or a property, or a right-of-way. And I want to mention, with full disclosure, that these are not survey-grade measurements, of course, but these are very good reference measurements, considering that you're making them from your phone or your computer, right? Next slide. Oh, and sorry about that. I also want to mention that there's more to the imagery itself, and being able to perform measurements on it, but we're also able to bring a lot more information onto the imagery that we would traditionally find on a map, right, or on a web application. Next slide. So as you can see here, we can overlay information like parcel lines, property lines, and even add labels such as their assigned addresses, right? So this really brings a lot of information right into one place, and you can overlay them and remove the overlay with one click. So it's very, very dynamic. You have a lot of information on it, a lot of information. I'm sure you can imagine all kinds of things that you can add on here, like the assets such as maybe water meters or signage, street signage. You could even get really creative and add things like fire incidents or crime incidents, and not only know what and when, but really get a good perspective of where these kind of incidents are happening, right? And so this really transformed this tool into sort of a tool that allows you to make more analysis and decision making and more complex observations, right? Next slide. Now this is the traditional kind of imagery that we're all kind of used to having. If we use your phones for GPS or kind of use a tool like Google Earth or Google Maps in the past, right? And it's a very good, as I mentioned, here this image is 3 inches in resolution in and around the city. Very crisp and just overall just very good quality. But the cherry on top of this product, to me, is that you can really look at any single location in and around the city from 5 different perspectives, including this one. And so that includes imagery taken from all 4 cardinal directions. Next slide. So this is the same location of the imagery, but from the south looking north. Next slide. This is from the west looking east. Next slide. From the north looking south. And from the east looking west. And so as you are able to appreciate, there are a lot of things about any one particular location that every single one of these images is able to tell us things about, right? Like being able to look under the
Twilight Zone, dude.
Wow.
It was a Twilight Zone. What happened?
To infinity.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's really all I have. And I really want to thank you for I really appreciate your attention, and that kind of really helps to count on your supporting our memorandum of understanding, which really supports projects like this for our valley. And if anybody has any questions or comments, it would be my pleasure to address them.
Any questions from council?
Mine's just more curiosity, so it's not a pressing issue, but I see it went through an RFP or an RFI process. Would that be something we'd be able to see what the actual proposal response was? It'd be interesting just to see how that scope of work and, the type of technology. For me, it's just more curiosity. Is that something available to the MOU agencies?
Yeah. Most definitely, we can provide you with that. Make that available to you so that you can see what that work looks like, what proposals we put on the table.
Yep.
And really get a bigger, more understanding of even what other technologies are out there, like you mentioned.
Thank you. Yeah.
Not to get too specific, but what do most cities use these aerial imagery, this technology for? Is it they use it for code enforcement in addition to coming up with site maps and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, most definitely. You're able to see things that you're not able to see from the ground, right? And you're able to kind of look under structures and canopies. So it really does give you the ability to look for, like you mentioned, code enforcement. I can't speak too much about the city because fortunately I haven't had the experience to work under the city. But for example, for the county, this tool is very invaluable for, like I mentioned, our assessor's office, our appraisers. We're able to make observations that would otherwise require them to go to, long distance places. Or public works department, being able to kind of get general measurements or a location or dimensions of an object or a street. Even like I mentioned, you can even have your own asset inspector to have them now, and just be able to kind of have all of that information in one place. It's good for reference, it's good for analysis. I'm sure that you're thinking of a lot of use cases. I think as I was going through the presentation, and as I'm seeing that you're thinking of that, like code enforcement.
Right. Yeah, any other questions? Okay. Is there anyone with an interest in making a motion to approve this item, this expenditure?
I'll make the motion to approve this item for the Regional Aerial Imagery Acquisition Consortium Memorandum of Understanding with the County of Imperial. Authorize the city manager to execute the agreement.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, item carries.
I do have a question. With respect to staff usage, what is it being used for? There's 14 users.
So even the finance department uses it in order to just look at some of the service levels that we provide for water and connections. The planning department uses it, engineering department uses it. I'm sure economic development purposes uses it. So there are a variety of uses within the city that we're currently allocating resources to. Doesn't mean we use it every single day for all of those functions, but it is a great tool that they do use. I can tell you that for the grant procurement process that we'll be going through, we'll definitely be using it for that as well.
Yep, and I was going to mention that during the presentation. I mean, I know what it's used for because I use maps like that, but I think it's important for people to understand, that this technology helps every department.
Absolutely.
So, thank you.
$45.50 seems like a very reasonable price.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
Thank you, Carla.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can I just comment on the history of this? When I first got here, we had to use the paper maps.
Right.
I was originally on the GIS committee with the county and Nobel Systems that developed this, and it's been getting better and better over the years. And we support any improvements and updates that we can. We do actually have, we did several years ago, we did allocate, I don't know how many were here, we did allocate money to do some of the city's layers, which includes all the water lines and the sewer lines and the manholes, everything. These things need to be periodically updated, though, as they're changed, and that's something that we haven't had the ability to do. We haven't been able to put our zoning on there yet. These are all things that would make things so much faster and easier, and save a lot of time and research and hours and personnel. If we can invest these little bits of money to keep this thing up to date. Now, for code enforcement, it'd be nice also for billing. There is a way to build this in. With the system, we've talked to Nobel and the county about this, where we can actually do, click on a parcel, you get all the building permit information, all that. It's just an initial cost of getting all that information scanned and uploaded in there. And for code enforcement, it's good, you can say that, but, I mean, I looked at an aerial that wasn't that old at a house, and it looked fine, and it was an aerial or a street view, actually. It was the Google Street View. And now it looks like heck?
Right.
And so, for real time, it's not going
Right.
to work. We're
Yeah.
still going to have people go out
Yeah.
as we get the complaints. But in terms of logging it, and if there's a way that we can maybe get in with the finance system of, the permits and everything, it would streamline a lot of things.
Yeah.
A lot of things.
No, it's, I wouldn't say it's endless possibilities, but it's close to many of them.
But like
yeah.
I said, it is a very powerful tool.
It
I
is.
mean, I in El Paso, I helped set these things up too. This is like the future, and it is.
Oh, absolutely.
It has been.
Absolutely.
And it's great, and it saves so much time and staff time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Backing up to item 5A, our fire chief got a call and had to leave. Oh,
He's back.
He's back.
He's making his
back.
grand entrance now.
Okay.
Here he comes.
Here he
Round
comes.
of applause
You're
for
up. All right.
I'm assuming I should. Like, no, moved on.
He was waiting for a longer applause. And he's like,
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council, and city staff. Mike York, Fire Chief, bringing you tonight the COVID-19 update for the current situation. Keeping it brief tonight, our numbers continue to remain on par. No major changes, a slight increase, but nothing that would designate a spike like we saw this time last year. Probably the biggest news that we were talking about as of yesterday, the amended health order, universal indoor face coverings for fully vaccinated persons is no longer required. So obviously we're all maskless, and that was based on some action by the County Board of Supervisors and some of our, excuse me.
no, go ahead.
Sorry.
Nice.
And based on the activity related to COVID within the Imperial Valley and vaccinations, et cetera. So just in time for obviously our major events here in Brawley, as well as the season where we're going to start seeing a lot more gatherings. So just a reminder, although the universal requirement has been lifted, people are still more than welcome to wear a mask, especially if they're experiencing any sort of symptoms or, just in large congregate settings. It's still recommended, just not a requirement. As for entities, agencies, businesses, self-attestation is approved, so signage at the door is still allowed for people to present themselves without a mask. The assumption is that they're fully vaccinated, although entities may still ask for proof based upon their needs. And of course, businesses and private entities are still able to require masks within their establishments. Variant data within the county. Obviously, we're still dealing with the Delta variant. That is the most predominant variant we're seeing. Again, as a reminder, the initial novel COVID-19 variant, the base virus, is actually no longer detected. We're only detecting variants at this point. We have 554 cases in Imperial County of the Delta variant. The 18 to 49 age group is the most affected. Vaccination status of the variant cases, not vaccinated is 64% and unknown is 30%. So vaccinated personnel only account for known 6% of the variant. So we are seeing some efficacy for the vaccine against the variant. And of course, even though the vaccine may not be 100% effective, we are seeing decreased hospitalizations and drastically reduced ventilator rates for persons that are vaccinated. So it's still recommended to get vaccines if you're eligible and if you feel safe. If there's no further question, or I have no further information to provide, if there's any questions, I'll do my best to answer.
Thank you for the information.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Chief, are you excited about Catacol? Absolutely. All right. So
You didn't.
I missed it last year. You know what I mean?
You didn't say it.
Item 5C, discussion and potential action to approve budget adjustments and stipulation for entry of administrative civil liability order from the California Regional Water Quality Control Board. This is also presented by Public Works Director Guillermo Cias. Backup is on pages 120 through 139.
Good evening again, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Guillermo Cias, Public Works Director. With this item is in short, is to do a budget adjustment and to enter into an agreement with the Regional Water Quality Control Board to reduce some fines or violations that were at the wastewater treatment plant effluent, and reduce these fines and to use the money toward an educational program that they call supplemental environmental projects. But Mr. Steven Mireles, the Senior Environmental Officer Compliance, is here to explain in greater detail what is this about and any questions that you might have in particular for violations or for these projects.
Thank you, Guillermo.
He lets you give bad news, or?
I know, today is bad news. I apologize. Again, my name is Steven Mireles. I'm the Senior Environmental Compliance Officer for the City of Brawley. Thank you, Mayor, City Manager, and City Council for having me speak here today, and of course, my boss, Guillermo. I do have one slide I just kind of want to briefly go over. It basically is a flow chart that shows the way that we receive our water within the city. We receive our water from the Colorado River. It is transported to us by the IID, and we receive it at our water treatment plant. There, we treat the water and make it drinkable, and then we pump it into the water distribution system. So in reality, the city of Brawley is in the business of two primary business models. One, we supply water, and then we also provide sewer services. So the water that enters the water distribution system goes to primarily our residential customers, but we also provide water to commercial customers and industrial customers. In those processes, through mainly industrial means, additional wastewater constituents are introduced into the water supply and then enter into the sewer. Sometimes you can get that within our commercial businesses as well, but mainly it's within our industrial users. And then our residents, there's nothing really that we can do other than we just live in our homes and we produce wastewater and it goes down the drain. So once it goes into the drain, it's no longer drinkable. We highlight that as purple, so we look at that as a wastewater. It enters our wastewater collection system, and we transport the wastewater then with our sewer system over to the wastewater treatment plant. There we use various biological control systems as well as a UV system in order for us to control the wastewater, treat it, and then remove everything that we don't want in that wastewater, and then we discharge to the new river. So that's kind of just a general breakdown of the process for both treatment of water, the way that the water enters the city, then into our wastewater treatment system. Today I'd like to talk to you about the settlement for the violations that we've had at our wastewater plant. Again, the City of Brawley maintains and operates a wastewater collection system and treatment plant. The treatment plant is regulated by the State of California through the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System Permit Program, also known as NPDES permit. The city's permit establishes discharge limitations that require the city to meet those limits. Between 2016 and February 2020, the city experienced multiple violations: 4 for bis 2-ethylhexyl phthalate, 7 for total copper, 3 for E. coli, 3 for fecal coliform, and 2 for enterococci. Bis 2-ethylhexyl phthalate is a chemical that's related to plastics. Copper is a metal that's naturally occurring within the water supply and is also very common within our water piping within our homes and just within any industry and commercial business. E. coli, fecal coliform, and enterococci are bacteria and are naturally occurring in domestic wastewater. The total fines for these violations, there were 19 of them, is $48,000. So to kind of have an understanding of what happened, what went wrong, so one way that we need to think of this is when we treat our wastewater, we're always looking into the past when we get and gather our data. So we take a sample today, but we won't know what's in that wastewater until a week from now. And so we are always reacting to data that's in the past and data that that's already a week old. So sometimes that presents challenges to us. Another challenge is, specifically with bis 2-ethylhexyl, we had one violation. We took one sample, it had a bad result, but it triggered 4 violations. So that one sample triggered 4 different violations for the city. And so that's kind of, I guess, the fundamental understanding of the way that we take our samples and the challenges that we faced in terms of treatment. The city of Brawley, as soon as we did find that we were in violation of our limitations, we took immediate action to address the violations. For BIS and copper, the city used chemicals to treat and precipitate those substances out of the wastewater column and into the wastewater sludge, and we remove that within the biosolids and send that to landfill. We no longer are experiencing copper and BIS violations. The city has also aggressively tested the collection system throughout the city of Brawley to determine the sources of BIS and copper. We aren't finding BIS within the city any longer, but we do still find copper. And again, it is a natural material, it's a natural metal, and so the way that the city has responded is through source control. So we have identified sources of the metal throughout the city, and we are trying to control the sources of that metal from entering the wastewater system in the first place. So we're making sure that our industrial users are preventing it from entering the sewer system. The bacteria violations occurred due to our UV system, control systems, and lab failures. So we have, at the very end of our treatment process, we need to hit these bacteria with light, and the ultraviolet light basically neutralizes or deactivates the bacteria and prevents it from reproducing. But unfortunately, our control systems at the time, these control systems are 22 years old, and the systems were telling us that they were operating properly when they were not. And so again, the city took immediate action in early 2020. We upgraded we replaced the control systems, we replaced the lamps, and we have increased our repair and maintenance for the system to make sure that those lamps are always on and working properly. The city is also scheduled to fully upgrade this system, so completely revamp it, replace it, put a new one in 2022. So that's going to be a large system upgrade that we're going to be doing to basically address these issues. I want to just, in the people that we brought up earlier today and introduced for the water plant, but I also want to, say that, we have very qualified people at the wastewater plant. These violations did not occur because of negligence. They occurred because of what we spoke of before. Again, we had issues of these metals and materials coming into the water plant. We struggled to treat them, but we now have those things under control. And so, again, we're treating 3.3 to 3.5 million gallons per day, and we just have a really good team that's working very hard to meet the challenges that we face every day. And we do have a removal rate. The state of California requires us to have a removal rate of 85%, and right now we're running the plant around 98 to 90%. So we are very proud of what we're doing, even though these violations are not welcome. The city has negotiated with the state of California to try and reduce the fines. Again, there was a total of $48,000 in fines that are being assessed against the city. We presented 2 supplemental environmental projects at a cost of $18,950. So instead of sending that money to Sacramento, we're able to keep that local. And so we'll be educating the public with the current Western United States drought, as well as cross-connection control. We're going to be providing pamphlet information to the public at events like Cattle Call. We're not going to be making it for this Cattle Call, but next year's Cattle Call, we will be having a booth, providing pamphlet information, as well as giveaway items such as hose bib vacuum breakers and low-flow shower head nozzles. And again, this will help keep the information local, money's local, and will educate the public here about the drought and cross-connection control.
Great. Okay. Stephen, I think you mentioned it, but could you say again how old is the current system that you're going to be replacing?
So the UV system, which is responsible for deactivating the bacteria, is 22 years old, and we will be replacing that next year in 2022.
I think most of us recall, the vexing situation of the copper, that, trying to find the source of that and mitigate the source of it before it ever made it to the wastewater treatment plant. And also, I know we've approved ballast replacements and lamp replacements over the last several years that in the tens of thousands of dollars. So it's it's quite an undertaking to replace that whole UV system.
Yes, it's something that's not unique to the city of Brawley. Other cities have faced similar challenges. El Centro had violations for fecal coliform and whatnot, and so other cities have these challenges as well. It's something that we just, as a city, need to make sure that we are constantly upgrading these systems, constantly are aware of the challenges that we're facing as we treat our wastewater.
You know, I've been out there multiple times to the wastewater treatment facility, and I've taken people out there on tours just to explain how complicated it is to treat wastewater. You get dirty, what do you see? You know, dirty water, and when you're leaving and it's going into the New River, it almost looks as clear as drinking water. And that is, it honestly is, it just goes to show how much processing it has to go through. So, no, I mean, it's bound to happen. I'll say this, though. You make getting fine sound very interesting. I'll tell you that much. You know what I mean? So, I'll give you that.
I worked in that system. I'm going to up Councilmember Nava here. I actually worked on the construction of that site 10 years ago. 11, shoot, man, it's getting long. And I remember replacing that system. Was that system not replaced back then in 2010 when we were upgrading that facility?
So I'm not quite sure exactly when the Trojan system was put in, but that system, there have been upgrades throughout the years, and again, we have maintained it, but it is an obsolete system now. Trojan has indicated that that system is not going to be supported anymore, and so we've already looked into upgrading the system and putting a whole new one.
How long is these systems supposed to last? I mean, without any significant type of maintenance, when we buy them, what are they supposed to last?
Yeah, the reason I'm stepping in is because I'm more familiar with the overall project as opposed to one specific one. What Mr. Mayor was saying is true that every year we replace the lamps of the Trojan system twice a year for about $40,000. That's give you an idea how old and how expensive it is to replace those lamps. However, recently, probably 3 years ago, we replaced the control panel that shows how it's operating, and 1 year later, we were lucky that we buy the extended warranty. We experienced failure. So they have to replace, again, 1 year after the control panel, but still the system is very old. And the manufacturer told us that we have 1 more year for certain components to be manufactured, and so we will be able to use. But we are right now, we brought the item to this council for approval, the design of the replacement. So currently, Lee and Roy is doing the design for the replacement. And as soon as we finish, so we will move forward with the construction. That's the reason that Steven said that next year we will be doing the construction for the replacement. This is the original equipment, and since it's sole source, it's related to all the other components. So it's difficult to change brand because many other components, and that is the industry of the wastewater. So it's similar to other equipment like pumps, so you cannot interchange another because it won't fit, it won't work. You need to do major modifications to be able to use another brand or another type.
I'm very familiar. My question was, again, how long is this equipment supposed to last? And if it's not lasting that long, do we know why?
Well, it's difficult to answer that because, as I mentioned, when we bought
usually there are manufacturer specifications.
Usually it's 1 year. Doesn't make sense at all, I understand, but we bought the extended warranty for 1 additional year, and I thought that what is going to happen if after this year something fail, city manager is going to kick my back, right? Because it's very expensive, and 1 year warranty is nothing, but it's common period in the industry. They don't give you more than that. They say that it will last longer, but they don't give you the warranty for that period. They just tell you that, but it's common on the industry. So we try to get more warranty, but they say all we have is 1 more year, and that's it, no more.
There you go.
But however, it's been for 20 years. But we don't expect.
So you didn't
you know-
replace it 10 years ago?
No.
Okay. I remember doing I actually broke up the old slurry to that as we operated on anyways, we'll talk about that later.
Many equipment has been replaced, but not the UV system at all. Just lamps.
The lamps and the
Right,
ballasts?
and the ballast, right.
So this will include the monitoring system and everything that?
Yes, everything will be brand new technology. Actually, the size of the equipment will be reduced.
Yes.
Because technology improved, and they will need less lamps because they are more efficient. So it's totally new, so we expect to reduce the cost of energy because it will have sensors that just uses the amount of energy required to treat according to the concentration of the water that needs to be treated.
Okay.
And of course, it'll be brought back for council's approval when the project's ready for approval.
Yes.
Next year's budget, more than likely.
Okay.
At the appropriate time.
Sam?
I just wanted to say, I don't know if, well, my opinion of the California Regional Water Quality Control Board, probably no one wants to hear it. It's related to the slogan they're now chanting at a lot of sporting events, in case you're interested. But other than that, I know they have a purpose, and I do understand that they have to regulate these types of things. However, I wonder sometimes, and I think the public needs to be aware that we're treating that water, we're treating that wastewater as it comes through. It's going through quite a few processes, and it's going back into the most polluted river in the United States, and we're being fined, or the taxpayers of the city of Brawley are being fined for that type of activity. And I would think that they could find a better way to do that. I mean, I would think that they could find a better way to maybe make the entire fine some type of educational process, or a process where they provide that back to us to upgrade our water plant or our wastewater plant. And I think there's a better way to do this. However, I do realize they need financing, so they're not going to do all of that. But I also understand that it seems ludicrous to me and illogical to me that they're fining the citizens of this city for water that we're putting back in the river that's better than the water that's in there. And so
It's punitive.
with that
I mean,
said,
that's all it is.
yeah, I understand. And with that said, I'll leave that alone, but I just wanted the public to kind of know my feelings.
You know, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because a few years back when we were fined $1 million,
yes.
you know, we didn't fight hard because it was like, oh, well, let's not upset them. We should have. You know, we should have raised holy hell at that point, too.
Right.
But,
it's citizens' money. It's general fund money.
Yeah.
It's money that we can ill afford to give up because we are a low-income area. And I just think there's a better way to do this, but they don't seem to find a better way. They just like to fine you.
And they
like
put
to
our
do that
levels
type
at a
of
lower,
things.
you know, we had higher standards in other places, you know, and so it's like, anyway, you'll get me started.
George and I
too.
have visited the plant. We know what you guys do. We know all the work that goes into that. We see what happens, and we also know that there are people that do flush things down the system that shouldn't be in there. And so we know we're going to constantly have to deal with this. But I think in this situation, we make the best of a bad situation and move forward. And I think we're positive about what we're doing. And as I said before, the chant at sporting events is probably appropriate, but we'll just leave it at that.
If I may, just related to Councilmember Couchman's comments, Stephen, this position was created with Stephen in mind for the city, and he is the perfect person to keep these wolves at bay, and is doing an outstanding job. And there was a lot of work that went into getting with this, so we appreciate you.
I told you that he makes getting fined, you know, like, kind of fun. I mean, come on, you know, it's like interesting at least, right?
And the other thing I would say is he does a good job in dealing with our industrial users also, and getting them to come into compliance and urging them to comply with what we need, because we get this kind of situation otherwise. And so I think he's done a good job with working with those individuals and the industrial users and all the users, trying to keep this in line and everything. And I know it's difficult.
And he has a beautiful dog, too. Have you guys seen his dog? Luna.
I haven't seen
He's
that.
my neighbor.
No. Okay.
All right, Sam, are you saying you want to change, you're going to ask Stephen to change his name to Brandon, or what are you?
Uh-oh.
No, that wasn't related.
We leave that one alone.
That's related to the California Regional Water Quality Control Board. They can change their name.
You don't like them very much, huh?
No.
And to Sam's point, I mean, I think what's great about our community is we do have great industrial users here, industrial base that we rely on to bring business and jobs here, and they've been great corporate partners partners. We certainly have had challenges with some of our SIUs, but we've addressed them. We're moving forward, and we're trying to move forward as a city. So, you know, I think these, again, are violations that have occurred. The city has taken significant action to try and prevent them from happening ever again. And I think we're in a better position now than we were when we first started.
Yes, and I don't want anybody to think that I'm blaming any industrial users here in the city of Brawley. I think we're just going to have to deal with these issues, and everybody has issues, and we work through it with all of them. And we're pleased with the industrial users that we have. I think we're pretty pleased with, I think the beef plant is one, and Pioneers Memorial Hospital is one. We need them. We need what they do, and we're very appreciative of them being here. So
I have a
with that
crude
said-
wastewater joke, but I'm not going to say
You're
it.
not going to
so-
say it?
We appreciate that.
Thank you, Stephen. That was great information.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. So at this time, I'll call for a motion to approve the budget adjustment and the stipulation as it was discussed.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Go ahead.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? All right, the item carries. Item 5D, authorize contract change order number 2 to contract number 2019-04A, re-advertisement of Wildcat Drive improvements project from Southwestern Avenue to South First Street for $7,791.87 to Pyramid Construction and Aggregates Incorporated, and authorize the city manager to execute all documentation concerning this project, presented by Public Works Director Guillermo Cias. Backup is on pages 140 to 144.
Yes, this item is regarding a change order for the Wildcat Drive from Western Avenue to First Street. The project is already completed, but we are just, closing out the same. And this change order is to pay extra work that the contractor had to do because we encountered this water line that we have to cut and cap to cancel pretty much. And also we had a rain event that caused the one open trench was flooded, and they had to remove the sludge and everything, clean up the pipe, and recompact it. And also to extend the contract, give out some days because these events. And the change order is in the amount of $7,791.87, and to add some days, 42 days for these delays. And any questions that you have? The project is completed, and it is very good quality.
Thank you. I'll make the motion to approve the item.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Item carries. Thank you, Guillermo.
Thank you.
Item 5E, discussion and potential action to adopt resolution number 2021-, resolution of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, fixing taxi cab fares of franchise holder White Cab located in Brawley, California. This will be presented by our Finance Director, Carla Romero. Backup is on pages 145 to 153.
Thank you. Hello again, council members. Here tonight, and joining me are the owners of White Cab. Both Abraham and Jessica are here to answer any questions after my brief presentation. Let's see if I can. Thank you, Thank you, Armando. So just to be clear, the city doesn't receive a franchise fee from the taxi cab holder itself, but our municipal code on Chapter 25 does govern taxi cab fares. So there's a process in place in order to adjust the fares. Essentially what happens is that the taxi cab owner has to provide a written request to the city. It's submitted to the city clerk, and it has to include their proposed rates, a justification for those rate changes, and a local fee comparison with other taxi cab companies. So White Cab did provide that information to us, and then what happens is it goes through an internal review process. So the city clerk makes sure that all of the proper documents are submitted, and then finance, which is myself, reviewed the proposed fees, the fairness of those fees, had a discussion with the owner to make sure that the justification was proper and that the fee comparison was submitted properly. And then I also asked Chief Duran his opinion of the taxi cab business and whether they were following all proper public safety protocols, and he reported no negligence. And so he is in support of the taxi cab business continuing in the city.
Do you have
And
any,
then-
sorry to interrupt,
It's
but
okay.
just to kind of speed through this, are there any concerns with the respective proposed fees?
No, we can go to that slide. Next slide, Armando. Sorry. So these are some of the justifications as to
Understood.
why, and those are in the staff report. And then the last slide is just the fee comparison and the changes. So not all of the fees are being proposed to change, just a few of them, and they're highlighted in orange there for you.
Thank you. Okay. I've reviewed. I think everybody else has. I'll make the motion to approve the item.
I'll second it. I think, yeah, for discussion, if we're going to discuss it at all, I think the gas price alone probably warrants the increase, and there's
And the
just
fact
so
that it's
many
been-
other cost increases that are involved.
It's been
And I've
13
seen it.
years since they made
It's
any
been,
increases.
I was here, so it's been a long time.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor? Aye. Any are opposed or abstentions?
Thank you for your service.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it, sir. Use it quite a bit.
Cattle call's coming up.
Our call's coming, they'll be busy.
Yeah, we sure. We'll be calling.
We don't need Uber. We got White Cabin.
Yeah.
Good luck to your business.
Good luck, yes. Okay, item 5F, discussion and potential action to adopt resolution number 2021 resolution of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, declaring a need to hold council meetings via teleconferencing pursuant to Assembly Bill 361, and authorize the city manager to implement teleconference accessibility to conduct public meetings. This will be presented by City Attorney Bill Smurden. Backup is on pages 154 to 176.
So, as you know, when the governor declared the state of emergency, he suspended portions of the Brown Act that make it possible for us to hold council meetings and planning commission meetings, whatnot, using teleconferencing technology. City of Brawley's doing it kind of in a hybrid fashion, where most of the time the whole council's here and most of the staff are here. But like tonight, sometimes consultants come in via Zoom. You can't. It's all or nothing. You have to comply with the new law if we're going to even do our hybrid model. In Calipatria, we're still not even holding meetings in person. It's still Zoom. It's pretty inefficient, I must say. But
You were going to say something else.
I was going to say something else, but I didn't.
You're right.
It's pretty tough to run a meeting that way.
Understood.
And we have a lot of public comments. It's quite shocking. Anyway, Assembly Bill 361 says if we're going to continue to do this, we have to pass this resolution, and every 30 days, we just have to take a look and make sure it's still necessary to do it.
One thing that is different than what we're currently doing, that we will be doing at the next meeting, is public comments will be allowed through Zoom, and that is a requirement that if we're going to allow anybody, we have to allow everybody, so that'll be a slight change where they will be live, microphone only, not video, for any public comments if there are any.
Okay. How will that work then? The Zoom link will be put on our website along with the agenda?
Agenda, and we'll have the gatekeeper, Mr. Armando, and Alma both, actually.
He's flexing back there.
Yeah.
That's currently being done, right? Like an IID.
Letting them in one at a time.
Yeah,
and-
okay.
And then if there's something bad
Like
that's said, we
A
will.
3-second
yeah.
delay or
Yeah.
something that.
Got 'em on.
No delay, but.
No delay.
Well, so will there be a time limit on that? I mean, can
It's
we
the same
can
time
enforce
limit,
that?
Same rules?
Same rules,
Perfect.
yeah.
Hold them to the time.
And, but only through Zoom, not through Facebook, like comments that are
No,
being.
it'll be through Zoom with the link.
That's our official.
meeting.
That's our
Yeah, the
official.
official.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah.
Great.
I'll make a motion to approve the item.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Item carries. Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome.
Item
No, sorry, just go ahead.
Item 5G, discussion and potential action to adopt Resolution 2021 resolution of the City Council of the City of Brawley, California, adopting and amending investment policy. This will be presented by our Finance Director, Carla Romero. Backup is on pages 177 to 197.
All right, here I am again, really short, 2 slides.
Really short.
Our investment policy hasn't been updated since May of 2013. There is no annual requirement to update it, but we did incorporate some language within the policy so that there's an internal review by the finance director, and then if there's any edits, such as tonight's, they did go through the city manager first and the city attorney for approval. You already know about the dual title that's just being added there, minor amendment. The new accounts, all of that is just all stuff that happens already. So we already have a lot of internal controls, and we're just tightening those up even more and adding those into the policy to put them in writing. The stuff that has changed is that stuff way at the bottom. So the LAIF rate, the local agency investment fund with the state, they increased their limit to $75 million back in 2020. So we're recognizing that in the policy. The FDIC insurance amount increased back in 2008. Also recognizing that a minor amendment from instead of 1 to 10 years is 2 to 10. And then there's no changes in the actual investment options. So no additional investment, changes or anything like that. And then all this still pertains, all of the regulatory requirements, oversight, reporting, none of that has changed, and none of the policy objectives has changed either. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Good work. I'll make a motion to approve the item.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Treasurer's hat.
And lastly,
Multiple
item
hats.
5H, discussion and potential action to receive and file the first quarter fiscal year 2021-2022 Treasury Report for quarter ending September 30th, 2021, also presented by our Finance Director. Backup is on pages 198 to 201.
So again, just a few slides. So this kind of rolls back into what we just talked about in the investment policy. And every time I present this to you, I'm trying to provide some more transparency, kind of tying it back into the policy. So this is a new format of presenting all the information kind of in a concise manner. We have to remember that these are all of the city funds. These are not just general funds. So a lot of this money is restricted for special purposes, for water, wastewater, and capital improvement projects. But overall, everything within the policy is within the limit. The average yield of the portfolio comprehensively is 1.26, so not a percent, not a lot of a yield there. Our investment market is not that great, but just comprehensively, we have 58 total investments that we're currently managing in the city with a value of about $49.8 million. Then the next slide. So we did have 2 investments that matured during the first quarter of this fiscal year. They were both with First Imperial Credit Union. We did reinvest all of that money. Those are the first 3 CDs you see on the right. We did stagger them between a 1 and a 2 year, and the yields also yielded us a little bit higher on the 2 year. We did have 1 outside CD and then 1 bond that we purchased. So the yield there on the bottom right is nearly 1%. The LAIF rate, though, at the end of the quarter was 0.24%, so we're doing better than that. The 3-year Treasury was 0.5, and then the 5-year Treasury was about almost also 1%. I pulled the rates for today, and LAIF is doing a little worse. It's actually 0.21, but the Treasury is doing better, so we're looking to get some additional yield this coming quarter. Which brings me to my last slide. We have a couple of maturities coming up in this quarter, so we're looking to reinvest those and stagger them so that we have an ongoing portfolio that staggers those maturities over
We
time.
made $8.22 in interest from $4 million.
It's
Right.
not including inflation.
Right?
Well,
No, but
no,
minus fees,
Yeah.
then it was like,
Minus fees.
It's very tough to make any
I know.
any
Tough to
kind
make
of
money, right? You can't.
investment in something that you know is not even going to come close to inflation rate.
Yes.
Okay.
So that concludes my report. I'm happy to take any questions you might have.
Thank you.
No questions? So we're looking for a motion to receive and file.
I'll make the motion to receive and file. Thank you for your
Second.
report.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Carries. Thank you, Carla.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. We always appreciate your thoroughness. I appreciate it.
Item 6, departmental reports, monthly staff report for November 2021, prepared by our Personnel and Risk Management Administrator, Shirley Bonias. Backup is on page 202.
Honorable Mayor, Council Members, Shirley Benias, Personnel and Risk Management. Good news is, we're down to only one vacancy in PD, police officer, and one dispatcher. But Public Works, we're struggling with Public Works. So, any questions on the report? I'll be glad to answer them.
Sure, just out of curiosity, just because so much is talked about labor, in general now, what is the applicant pool looking like, just in general, including like Public Works? Is it?
It's horrible.
Wow, that's scary.
And my counterparts are experiencing exactly. So, the first thing we usually look at is our wages, what's compensation, what's our benefits. But the applicant pool is tiny everywhere. So we're struggling, like all industries are struggling, from airlines to flipping burgers at your burger joint. It's difficult. Many theories why, but it just doesn't seem like anybody's looking for work. And when we look at Public Works, we're looking at certifications. So as you saw these young people that are coming up and really getting those certs.
Shirley, sorry to interrupt. Are we providing opportunity for those like in lower level positions to like go and train and get those certificates, through the city or even through their unions that represent them?
Yes, all the MOUs have a tuition reimbursement. We have it within the unrepped as well. So yes, there is movement. There is plenty of opportunity with our own staff. If anybody comes to me and asks, how can I make more money? I said, get a cert. Go to IVC, get your water technologies, get your wastewater technologies. We're always struggling. Juan Antunes, who was here today, he's the only D3 certification we have in all of streets and utilities. We've encouraged, we've given, and some have taken opportunities in the past, a $1,500 one-time bonus. Go get your cert. We've done many different ways. Unfortunately, it's just not panning out yet. We're having trouble getting a D3, and that's the biggest thing that we're having to struggle with right now.
And most of these certificates, like they're available through like IVC and like even online, right?
They're available for the school, the training portion of it.
Right.
All certs come through the state.
Right.
So we did have that hiccup because of COVID. Nobody was testing. Now, Guillermo has written a few letters and has pushed the state board so we can get people certified. I think that's how Omar got his T4. By the way, he just got his cert today, so he was like really stoked that he got his cert today. But yes, we have tried many different things, but as far as the applicant pool, from general laborers, traditionally 20 to 30 apps. We got 10 for 2, and that was all cattle call help. Those 6 positions, I had like 10 apps. So that just tells me that people aren't looking for work.
Yes, it's pretty clear. Jack in the Box had a problem on Sunday. They had reduced staff. They only had like 3 people working, and they had a crowd from the sand dunes and everything. It's critical everywhere. I mean, just even in the lower level positions everywhere, there's a lack of labor.
Unfortunately. So we'll continue to do our best to recruit and encourage our current staff to go get those certs.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. Thank you, Shirley.
Thank you, Shirley. Thank you.
Item 7, informational report, is a 2022 city calendar on page 203. Yep. Okay.
Sorry, Mayor. There was a mistake, and it's small mine. February's calendar did not reflect any council meetings. I didn't know we were going dark the whole month. And then May's was incorrect. So on the diocese was left the revised, updated, and correct version.
Okay. Okay.
And these are the holidays as given. There's no additional holidays. And this just gives the council meeting days, the pay dates, which is, we have to post this for all city staff to know when they're going to get their paychecks, and then the holidays. And not all bargaining units get the same holidays, but all the unreps get these holidays. Okay. Any other questions? And I apologize for the error.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 8, city council member reports. We'll start with Councilmember Wharton.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. Just last week had a good lunch meeting being introduced to the new SDSU, relatively new Chief Administrative Officer, Dr. Richard Wheeler, and we got a chance to visit at Inferno and really talk about their plans heading our way. So I know we had that letter of support a few council meetings ago, I think it was, or last council meeting that was put forward, Mr. Mayor, signed by you, but it was really good. I was able to actually speak to him as well as someone that's in the pre-hospital industry, so really talking about jobs, education, kind of appropriate to what Shirley was just talking about, of what we can do to bolster that and continue to bolster that and be a community partner potentially with SDSU. So their plans are pretty, I think all of us on council are pretty much aware that they're looking at really moving forward aggressively with a 4-year program and really putting kind of Brawley in addition sort of on the map there, even though it's just outside of Brawley. But certainly close enough to our sphere of influence where there's things that we can do as a city to support their objectives, which I think would meet our community objectives as well. So it was a good exchange. Outside of that, I did attend the PMH Gala. As always, a great event that moved back to its original location. And the weather was nice, and I think it was, again, a nice evening to kind of get back to what that event normally was. And then the last thing was attending the League of Cities division meeting, and it was actually focused on honoring Cheryl Walker, who was the past league president. Again, it was great to see everyone. Same thing. I think it's been, well, it feels like it's been 2 years, but I think it's been over 1.5 years since there's been an in-person. And I know Councilmember Nava joins me in saying those virtual meetings were not the most exciting. So it was nice to actually be there in person, even though we didn't do heavy-duty business. So that's all I have to report, Mr. Mayor. Looking forward to cattle call. And, one last thing. I guess I will be speaking at we'll call it the community bell game reception out at the kiosk, and
Tomorrow at 2.
tomorrow at 2-ish, 2:30.
2:24, I think the flyer
wherever
says.
all of us,
2:24.
We'll get out there. And,
I'll be in San Diego, I'm sorry, but
You can zoom in.
We'll all
I'll be there to
I'll
support
speak
you.
for you. So that'll be pretty exciting.
one day, Doctor.
Yeah, that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Castro.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Just first off, I want to give a shout out. As you saw earlier, some employees weren't introduced because they're out on call right now. I've been watching them respond to a lot of the things coming up in the city, right? And in particular this time, when we're all out celebrating, we're all out, enjoying the catacall festivities, which, by the way, it's like my favorite time of the year. I actually like it more than like Christmas time. That's how much I enjoy it when we start this week. And I just want to give them a shout out. I see you guys out there working, and I see all the things you guys are doing, and we've seen it over the years, right? As we're all celebrating and doing things and enjoying our beer and whatnot, they're out there working and making sure that everything's safe and things are where they're supposed to be. So big shout out to all city employees. At least I personally and everyone I know in the community thanks you for your hard work, for everything that you do. I also attended the PMH Gala, which was very interesting. I had never been to one, and it was a very neat event. Thank you for the invitation and for you guys making room, because we actually didn't RSVP. And then we went over to Councilmember Nava's event right after, which is also really neat. Appreciate that those invitations. I was also asked by Mr. Max Reyes, who's been putting on mariachi night for, I don't know, 30 years? How long, Alma? 25 years? 30 years? So he's been doing that for many, many years. This year, his usual host won't be available, and he reached out and asked me to be his MC. So I'll be emceeing the mariachi night here at downtown next week on Wednesday. So that should be fun. There's a challenge. What's that?
Beer's on you.
Beer's on me, of course. And we made a deal that if Sam Couchman, Mayor Pro Tem Sam Couchman gets up to sing a part of a song, I'll sing the whole song.
That's hard.
Anyways, and last but not least, I was able to participate in the binational mayor's bike ride, which was held in Arizona. Went from Yuma all the way into San Luis, Mexico. So they opened the border for us. We rode right through. And again, I hadn't been on a bike, I think, like in 20 years. And I keep thinking I'm still 25 years old and I can just do this stuff. So I did do a 25-mile bike ride on a bike that I had been sitting there for 6 years. So I was pretty sore. And I keep saying, I'm not teasing Donnie. I keep saying it sounds like I'm teasing my respect for him grows, because I swear to God, I was sore for at least 8 days or so.
It's not easy.
Right.
It's not like riding a bike.
No, literally, it's not like renting. And it was extremely painful, and I don't know. The legend continues to grow, right? The legend continues to grow. A fat guy who goes to do stuff without getting ready for it. Anyways, I was able to meet with all the mayors from San Luis, Somerton, the mayors from Yuma. I don't know. I think I was out of line. Maybe I apologize, Mr. Mayor, that I said I was there representing Mayor Luke Hamby, and his name was shouted out several times out in Mexico as they were saying, representing Mayor Luke Hamby. They just called me a representative. They didn't even give me a title, but it was really neat, and I participated along with the mayor Mayor Javier Moreno from the city of Calexico, who was very interested in doing the same thing here and starting in the city of Brawley, and obviously finishing up with our counterparts in Mexicali. So look out for that, and I look forward to working with that on him. And anybody who wants to jump on it, you'd probably be the perfect guy for that. But we'll be writing again. Hopefully in a couple of months, we'll put out some word on that. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Councilman Nava.
All right. Well, Dell also attended the League of California Cities, a division meeting, and that was to honor, as Councilmember Wharton has said, to honor Cheryl Walker, and she's done great work representing our area, and I think that role is a high one throughout the state, so she's well recognized throughout the state. So good for her and good for us. It's just recognition. What's good for El Centro, what's good for Calexico is good for Brawley as well. So all that exposure out here is good for everybody. So congratulations to her. Also, I attended the ICTC meeting. I will share with you that I will be on Thursday, I'm going to be at a retirement party for Mark Baza, who is leaving ICTC. And, I've been working with him for years now, and he's well respected in the industry. And he'll be leaving. David Aguirre is stepped in as the interim, and I think he's going to do a fantastic job. I've known David personally and professionally for many, many years outside of what he's doing currently. I met him in the loan business, and he's always been top-notch. Good guy. So I think he's going to do very well. So we had the ICTC meeting. Also, I had a chance briefly to take a trip out with our graffiti abatement personnel or one-man powerhouse, and absolutely. Yeah. So we visited some sites, and I wanted to get more input on what he's working on, and we saw some before and after, and it was just great. I had taken some before pictures, and I had sent them to our city manager, and he directed them to the right people. But ultimately, the work was done. And he got a lot of positive attention here on social media, and I think it's really important that we recognize when we're having some success, and even when things that are challenging. But sometimes it goes unseen, unheard, and people don't recognize it. Right. And so I think the more they know, the better off we all are. So that's good for that. Also want to thank Councilmember Castro and Mayor Pro Tem Couchman for attending. I had a professional event at a listing that I have here, a property that I purchased and rehabilitated, and we had like a pre-listing party, kind of an unusual approach, and it just was fun. We had a good time, and we had a good little turnout, and people had fun. I appreciate you stopping by and supporting. So it was a lot of fun, and more to come. So thank you all very much. I do want to thank staff. I know it's going to be a busy week. Everybody's been working really hard, and don't think that goes unnoticed. I know everybody's really putting in the time, effort, energy to make the city function. And, this is a really busy week, especially with Catacall coming up. We missed it last year, and I just think that this year people are just super anxious to get out and have fun. So, let's be safe. Let's be careful. Let's enjoy it, and I know it's going to be a lot of work, but let's put in that work and energy that the residents expect. So, and even us as council members, it's work too. Trust me. And this is no joke. People don't understand this, but when you're out there, we're out there as elected officials, and we're out there talking to people. That is work. Believe me, it is work, because you're hearing complaints, you're hearing positive things, you're hearing everything, and I go in there with that mindset. And we have to approach it that way. So it's worked for us as well. It's not just, hey, we're out there having a good time. We're actually representing each and every one of us as well. So, you know, and Sam tries to do it without too many beers, but, you know, sometimes he
it
struggles.
gets on the front page.
Sometimes, and he made it on the front page with a drink in hand. All right. Well, anyway, I'll leave it at that.
I told him it didn't matter anymore.
It didn't matter anymore. All right. Well, thank you all very much.
All right. Mayor Pro Tem Calhoun.
Okay, it was a busy last couple of weeks. I attended the Pioneers Memorial Hospital Gala, as I usually always do. It was a very big event, and a lot of things went on there, and it was real exciting, and having people come out again for different events. I also attended the NAVA Commercial Capital and Real Estate event, open house or whatever. It was a very nice dwelling. It was a really nice little house, and I appreciated that. And I attended that after the PMH Gala, which I got there kind of at the end, and I apologize for that.
No, we
but we
appreciate
got
you.
there.
Yeah, thank you.
And then I also attended on behalf of the city, the regional chamber called a press conference on border issues. And I was able to attend that in El Centro at their office. They actually had us speak as like a press conference, and I think they did televise that. And the issues with the border crossing were the opening of the border as of November the 8th, and also the delay in getting across the border, and both ways. So there was a lot of questions about the border crossing this way, people coming over from Mexico, and people going back to Mexico, especially after 5 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that, where the long lines always form up. So everybody has a concern about that. We forwarded those concerns to the feds and to the state, and some of their representatives were there. Almost all the cities, I think, were represented. And so we were able to each speak briefly. I did represent Brawley. It doesn't affect us quite as much as some of the other people, and our ag has continued to operate even with the border being partially closed. However, I did say we're all in this area together. We all work together, and we all benefit from the financial and economic interest and economic ability that we have. And so I did support them in whatever position that they wish to take on those issues. And so we did that. I also did a Rotary Fall Social, which we do for the Rotary Club locally. The district governor of Rotary came down for that and visited us, and it was a very nice dinner event, and that's why I missed the League of Cities. So I was there, and I did present him with the City of Brawley pin and made sure he was welcome to Brawley. I did attend the pep rally here on Friday, a very exciting pep rally with Brawley Union High School. One of the cheerleaders passed out, and the ambulance had to come, and our EMTs were on the job, the police department was on the job, and the ambulance was right there, and they did transport her to Pioneers. I don't know what her condition is, but she was clearly having some difficulties. But the overall pep rally, very exciting, and we actually won that game that evening, which was a great thing. And that was also, I also went to the ribbon cutting for Without Wax Studios, which is across the plaza here. Very nice setup, screen printing, ads for different types of organizations and people. They have a really nice setup over there. Quite a few people there for the event. Took us about 2 hours, and they got everything done, and they did the ribbon cutting, and everything was real nice. The chamber was there, and other representatives were there, and it went off very, very well. They're a new business, young people venturing into entrepreneurship, and hopefully they'll be very successful, and I wish them that success. And I did get to say a few words on the council's behalf and on the city for that. And then also, you're welcome. And then also the Hidalgo Society event. And later on that evening, I attended the Hidalgo Society event, and that meant that I had to watch the Brawley game on TV and keep running into the bar to watch it and coming back and forth and in and out.
Forcing you to drink.
So I did that, and that was their Dia de la Raza dinner, and where they recognized the Hispanic Man and Woman of the Year, Mr. Weir and Mrs. Santillon. Were the ones that were represented as the Hispanic Man and Woman of the Year. They were honored with that. And the Hidalgo side did a good job, and really nice food, and everything went very well for that. I also, Halloween, it looked good. We had a lot of trick-or-treaters out. It looked good. I think everybody was pretty safe. The police had some activity going on with somebody speeding down the roads, but overall, I think everybody everybody went through that, and that went pretty good. And just to give you an example of what I run into when I'm doing that, the little kid comes up and goes, "Aren't you the mayor of Brawley?" And I said, no, that's Luke Hamby. And so he said, and I gave him his number and his card to call in case he had any problems. Then the other little girl that came up said, "Aren't you the governor of Brawley?" And I said, "No, I'm the lieutenant governor, but I'll be governor in January." And so that was kind of funny, and my wife got a kick out of that. And then Monday Night Football, I went there and I talked with a couple of the rodeo committee members, and it looks like the rodeo is going to be really great this year. They have an outstanding number of contestants, and they've been selling the tickets really, really well. And so it looks like it's going to be real, real good. It looks like it's going to come off really, really well. And they're even going to have extra events like after hours to accommodate all the contestants that they have. And they're having some issues with trying to get everybody in for the Saturday afternoon performance, get everybody out for the Saturday evening performance and back in. And that could be some issues, and I'm sure we'll be involved in that from the city side. And with that, that was all that I have to report. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Sam.
Is that it? Is that all you did?
Yeah, that's all I did. Next week will be even busier.
Oh, this guy does 3 or 4 events a day. That's great.
Hey, by the time he's done, he'll be mayor, bro.
He's the governor of Brawley.
He'll be governor by the time he's done, bro. By the time he's done talking.
I won't be on the council.
That's cold.
It'll be re-election time, bro.
How do you follow something like that? I don't even know if I
know
can
how
follow
you
that
can do
soon.
this.
I mean, all I know. All I really have to report is, a lot of phone calls from people about Measure U, and in maybe 10 minutes or so, we'll start hearing what's going to happen with that. But
that's right.
different people asking, not necessarily how to vote, but exactly what the measure entailed and how it was different from what was already in place, and whether it was a new tax or whatever. Also had the opportunity to connect different citizens and their concerns with different departments, between the city manager and the police department and Parks and Rec and Public Works. And that's part of what we do. We get emails or texts or Facebook messages from people who are either unhappy about something or concerned about something within their neighborhoods or their circle, and we have the opportunity to connect them with the services that they need. And a lot of those services are funded by the general fund and those dollars that come from Measure U. So we're hoping that passes today. I did get to attend the pep rally for the Bell game, and that was pretty amazing to see how many people turned out for that, and got to say a few words. And my son got to ring the bell on the golf cart, and he was pretty happy about that. And yeah, it was a pretty spectacular game to watch. We watched it from home as well. And there's a lot of yelling and screaming in our house while we watched that. But it was a very good game. So happy to have the Bell coming back to Brawley again. And also got to attend the League of California Cities dinner with my fellow council members and honoring Cheryl Walker in El Centro. It's pretty amazing to see all that she's accomplished and all that she continues to do. A lot of different hats that she wears. So that completes my report. And from there, we will move to item 9, City Attorney Report.
So thank you to Councilmember Wharton. He gave my son some pointers on how to run a marathon. While he was on deployment, he made friends with the helicopter rescue swimmers, and they talked him into signing up for his first marathon, said, "We'll run it with you." They chickened out. My son didn't. And he finished and did really well, but Donnie gave him some really important pointers that I know helped him a lot.
Good. I saw that. Congratulations to him.
But that's it.
Okay. Item 10, City Clerk Report.
I was just going to remind you of the community pep rally tomorrow here at the kiosk, starting at 2:15.
Okay.
Guillermo, do you want me to, on the Main Street closures, or do you want to go up? He forgot to mention something.
Okay.
Yes, the city clerk, because I forgot to give the informational report when I was here. But this information will be on the website, will be on Facebook, and also we deliver some flyers to the local businesses. Tomorrow we'll close Main Street at 6 a.m. since tomorrow until Saturday after chili cook-off. So it will be closed Main Street from the plazas only. So people be patient because there's preparation, painting, the spaces for the vendors for the other events, Mariachi Night and Caracol Parade. And also there will be other subsequent closure for Mariachi Night and also for Caracol. But that information will be on the website.
And that'll be, I'm sorry, that's starting next week?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, starting tomorrow.
Start
Okay.
tomorrow
Starting
until
tomorrow.
Saturday, the 6th.
Okay, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, okay.
It will start tomorrow like 6 a.m., the closure until Saturday 4 p.m. It will be closed.
Very well. So that's good.
Yeah.
Gets the big crowd out there for
That'd
the
be
Bell
fun.
pep
Yeah,
rally.
yeah,
For pep rally.
Fantastic, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guillermo.
Mr. Mayor, I just looked over and I saw Rachel, so it just reminded me of something. I do want to give a shout out, Rachel and her team. This comes up every year when the pool starts getting cold, and it's always a decision on when the heaters are started, but you have at least 30 happy users out there every evening, and Rachel really took the time with her team to go out. They literally put a thermometer in all four corners of the pool and walk, the coach and some of the users. But there's 8, 9, 10 ladies that go out there every night, and they're kind of doing their exercise stuff in the shallow end. Then you have the swim team, and then you have the lap swimmer. So you have a lot of users out there. And when these evenings start getting cooler, as you can imagine, it gets kind of cold getting in at first. So having those things fired off a little bit early. Used to kick off around November, so it was kind of rough during the month of October. So again, thank you, Rachel, and your team for staying on top of that, though. A lot of Measure U supporters.
All right, good deal. There's nothing further. We will move to item 11, closed session. Thank you all for tuning in.
Thank you.